up, y'all? It's Metaphor back for more to kick the raw, represent everyone's you and I verse. We want to do a video on the moon, which is in a cusp of Aries and Taurus, and the sun and Virgo. So we're stabilizing the details of a passion. With that being said, get everything necessary to protect yourself on this waxing moon, Please get everything necessary to protect yourself on this waning moon cycle before we experience the new moon. It's going to be on September, I think, 15th, 16th or something like that, and that'll be in Virgo. So we're experiencing the protection at this time of what we've accumulated from that previous new moon, and now since we've had that full moon, we see what experiences have the full potential and what experiences we didn't actually get to the proper echelon, or we weren't exactly satisfied with the conclusion of the full moon. So we know now what we need to erase, and we know now what we need to replace with that thing that we erased, essentially. So with that being said, at this point in time, it's going to be a very passionate time based on the moon in Aries moving from Aries to Taurus, and it's going to be that cusp energy. So it's like kind of like a volcano, that fire and earth at the same time. So the fire and earth, and then experiencing the sun in Virgo, we're experiencing the details of a passion that we're trying to stabilize, like I said earlier in the video. So like I said, get everything necessary for the video, get your water, get your protein, you know what I'm saying? Get everything necessary for you to be able to enjoy the video. So with that being said, at this point in time, the moon in Aries is makes an individual feel as if everything is about oneself, because it's the individual sign. So at this point in time, whatever we saw within oneself, we now want to stabilize that. We want to stabilize whatever protection that we utilized in Aries. So for example, we had that full moon in Pisces, and we're still feeling the remnants right now. So I wouldn't recommend going out and doing too awful much that's extra until we reach that that sextile period with the moon in Cancer and the sun in Virgo. So we still got a couple more days. I think that falls on like September 9th, and I'm in the Midwest. So I'm on the Eastern time zone of America. So with that being said, September 9th is when we're going to experience the moon in Cancer, yes. And with that being said, at this point in time, you just want to see what exactly are you replacing, and what exactly could you go, maybe do a little bit of speculating at this point in time. See what protection spells you've utilized for that moon in Aries, and then boom, as this is cusping into Taurus, stabilize whatever you've initiated and created based on the cardinal energy in Aries, and now put that energy into a fixed space. And also the moon being in Taurus is an exalted space, so the moon does very well here. So the moon is all about the emotions and feeling comfortable. So you can feel comfortable when you're doing something in a consistent pattern and making logistical and practical ways about going about it emotionally. It's making sense out of your emotions. That's why the moon does well in Taurus. So with that being said, I'm going to break down the moon cusping, like I'm breaking down right now, and then I'm going to do the first to the 12th house of Taurus, because the moon is already at 29 degrees of Aries, so it's already past the 28th degree, so it's in the 29th right now, and we only have 0, 1, and 2 degrees left of this cusp. So this period of time is all about the harvest as well, so keep that in mind. So whatever the details of the passion that you're stabilizing, you want to also be able to harvest from that and see, okay, what things can I actually protect on my harvest? Essentially, who do I need to share this with? What details do I need to... Essentially, Virgo being a Mercury sign, it's about the details, but also communicating those details. I'm not sure if my cat needed to get in here. You see what I'm saying? Moving forward, what's that noise? But moving forward, the moon in Taurus for the first of the 12th house. So the first house in Taurus is going to be a personal affair, that is one being consistent or stubborn. So at this point in time, it's moving from your 12th house. The moon was in Aries, and you were initiating, creating a new dream, or a way of being an illusion about protecting oneself. And now you're stabilizing that in your personal life and seeing, okay, how can I actually protect oneself? And with that being said, the sun in Virgo is going to be a fifth house to the moon in Taurus, which is a trine angle. So it's a 120-degree angle. You're utilizing an opportunity to create. So you're creating an opportunity of stabilizing oneself to then have the details be harvested based on your routine and pattern and where you are at space-wise. In the end, so for just to be clear, on the higher octave for the Taurus, you're able to actually stabilize something that you can harvest. On the lower octave, you're not actually able to harvest whatever you've initiating created in Aries. So at this point in time, you may want to rectify that. And keep in mind, this moon in Taurus is going to have that Uranian influence. So you also have the Uranus on your first house right now, Taurus, so keep that in mind. So your personal affair is going to be very unique in general. So all the Taurus's experiences are going to be just unique experiences in general. So keep that in mind. Taurus is going to be always some left field thing since y'all have Uranus in your sign. Moving forward, Taurus in the second house is going to be the Aries rising, and this will be the values of being consistent or stubborn and practical. So essentially, at this point in time, from the first house, you had this personal way of initiating, creating the emotions, and now you're going to stabilize those emotions based on the way that you value them. And how you value these emotions, you're then in turn going to have a routine and pattern that you're harvesting from them. So if you're on the higher octave, you're creating an opportunity to actually harvest what you value. If you're on the lower octave, you're not harvesting from what you value. You just value these certain things that aren't exactly creating good opportunities for oneself. So essentially find something that's beneficial that you can harvest from, and find a value that you can actually benefit from. Moving forward, the Pisces rising will have Taurus in the third house, so they're experiencing that cusp from the second to the third. So what they initiated and created in their values, and the way that they protected oneself, and the way that they value that protection of oneself, then in turn, in that third house, you're going to stabilize in your environment what you actually value. So essentially, then in that seventh house, you're going to be harvesting from what you value. Harvesting those values that you initiated and created, and in turn utilizing them in the environment and stabilizing them in your environment. So to in turn give oneself an opportunity to create a actual amicable relationship that one can actually harvest from and benefit from. On the lower octave, you don't actually benefit from what you're doing in your environment and from what you valued. You need to find better things to value to then in turn be more consistent in your environment with those things. Moving forward, the Aquarius rising is going to have Taurus in the fourth house, which will be a learning process, a 90-degree angle. So at this point in time, the Aquarius has to learn how to stabilize what they had an opportunity to. They've seen the opportunity with the moon in Aries, and then in turn, whenever this is cusping into that Taurus, you're going to be able to learn from what the opportunity that you saw. So with that being said, the Aquarius rising is going to have the Taurus in the fourth, like I say, and that means that they'll have the Virgo in the eighth. So that this time they're harvesting from their transformation and what one is transformed. So the Aquarius is learning from what's close to one's heart on how to create an opportunity to actually harvest from what is being transformed based on what is close to one's heart. It's a whole lot of water alignment, so essentially the Aquarius has to tap in with the water and be a little bit more emotional at this time and be a little bit more fragile with those emotions. And it's very interesting. During the Virgo time, you want to throw the pentacles. So it's a misunderstanding time as well for the Aquarius, because the Aquarius misunderstands the Virgo a lot of time based on it being a 150-degree angle. Moving forward, the Capricorn rising has the Taurus in the fifth house, so whatever they initiated and created in the fourth house with Aries, and the way that they protected oneself in the fourth house, the way that they had things close to their heart, the emotions they felt close to their heart, what they learned from, based on the Capricorn being the rising sign, they learned how to be more close to others' hearts. So in turn, now you're going to be able to stabilize that sentiment, essentially stabilize the logistics and practicality and be more consistent with that expression. And then with that being said, the Virgo will be in the ninth house, so you'll have a knowledge and wisdom of how to express oneself. So creating an opportunity how to express oneself based on the knowledge and wisdom and things of that nature. And you're able to harvest from that knowledge and wisdom that you are stabilizing. So boom, moving forward, the Sagittarius rising has the Taurus in the 6th house. So they're cusping from the 5th to the 6th, but the moon of Aries has it being in the 5th. The moon of Aries was experienced in the 5th house. So whatever you, the opportunity you created with the Aries moon, then in turn you're going to stabilize that. So with that being said, the Sagittarius is stabilizing a routine and pattern they initiated and created expression wise. And then with that being said, they're experiencing I gotta recall, if I'm not mistaken, it's in the 9th house. You're gonna oh no, I messed up, it's in the 10th house. Yeah, so then the Virgo is going to be in the 10th house for the Sagittarius. So you're harvesting from your career or your blueprint or your status or what you're known for. So at this time, the Sagittarius is either under a circumstance where they're misunderstanding what routine and pattern to experience to then in turn actually have a beneficial status, or if you're on the lower octave, the routine and pattern that you got going on, or you don't even have a routine and pattern, and that's what your status actually is not having a routine and pattern. Well, then in turn, you want to rectify that by creating a routine and pattern, you know what I'm saying, while you still have this little bit of energy, creating this expression to have a routine and pattern, and then boom, stabilize it with the Taurus going to be in the 6th house. And with that being said, you're going to have the Virgo in the 10th house. So you're going to be having a blueprint and creating a blueprint based on your routine and pattern. And that's how you rectify. You want to have a beneficial routine and pattern to actually harvest from your blueprint that you created, like template wise. Moving forward, the Scorpio is going to be opposite to the Taurus. So whatever you had going on, routine and pattern, or whatever routine and pattern you initiated and created, is then going to in turn be experiencing your relationship, and you're going to be relating the stability that you created. So both fixed energies. So you're either able to oppose or add on to the Taurus energy. And then with that being said, the Taurus energy in your 7th house will then have the Virgo being in the 11th. So essentially, you're harvesting from your associations. So is your relationship actually beneficial, and are you harvesting from that relationship, or is it on the lower octave and you're not actually harvesting anything and you're not benefiting nothing from this relationship? And we know Scorpio energy is all about the Martian energy, so it's all about an internal passion of you accomplishing whatever you seek to accomplish. I'm not going to give too many of your secrets away, Scorpio. That's with this video. I'm going to get you, though. I'm going to get you. Don't worry. Scorpio season coming. I'm going to get you. Everybody can get it, though, just to be clear. I'm not just calling Scorpio out. Everybody going to get their time to be spoke on like that. And then Libra rising is going to have the Taurus in the 8th house. So at this time, they're transforming whatever they related with, essentially. And it's going to be a behind-the-scenes secret space. So, like, essentially, this could be a time that the Libra misunderstands what to transform based on that Virgo being in the 12th house. So with that being said, they're in that dream, illusion, and nightmare of harvesting. So, like, they're either able to misunderstand, or they're able to see, okay, maybe there's nothing that there's just a missing piece here, and I just need to play my part and just continue to be a Libra, essentially, and not try to be more than oneself. So with that being said, essentially you're experiencing this opportunity to transform your dream, transform the emotions that one is experiencing based on having this dream, illusion, and nightmare that you're harvesting. So either you have a dream that's being harvested based on what you're transforming on the higher octave, or on the lower octave, you're transforming for the worse, and you're not achieving your dream, and you're just in an illusion. Sorry, Libra, gotta hit y'all with that. And then Virgo is going to have the Taurus in the 9th house. So the knowledge and wisdom and the experience is essentially what one is stabilizing for the Virgo. And the Virgo obviously has Virgo in the 1st house. So the knowledge and wisdom and experience that one has accumulated, you're essentially being consistent upon that knowledge and wisdom to then in turn harvest for oneself, harvest for your personal affairs. It's either you're doing well personally, you're not doing too well personally. And honestly, it's all subjective to rectify the 1st house. You see what I'm saying? It's like a first impression and how one personally sees oneself. So really all I could say is get to better living, essentially. Shout out Smack. You know what I'm saying? Hey, smacking a lot of beef right now. You know what I'm saying? I like the way he said better living. So we're just going to speak on the good right now. Even though I did bring dang, all right. Sorry, Gemini, I had to let everybody know. You dig? Moving forward, the Leo rising is experiencing the Taurus in the 10th house. So whatever status that they are stabilizing and whatever status that they've logisticalized and practicalized from the knowledge and wisdom that they've attained with that moon in Aries, whatever was initiating created knowledge and wisdom wise from the Aries, now they're in turn stabilizing that and creating and having a status to stabilize, so logisticalizing and practicalizing one status to then in turn harvest from the value. So it's either whatever you value, you're harvesting from that and you're benefiting from that, or you're not benefiting from what you are working with blueprint wise, and essentially and you're not able to actually achieve those values, essentially. And whatever you value, you're not able to attain it, essentially. Second house is a real material house. Moving forward, the 11th house is where the Taurus is going to be experienced for the Cancer rising, and this will be and for the Leo, this is a learning process, a 90-degree angle. At this point in time, you should be learning what to stabilize, essentially learn from the status and the blueprint that one is initiating created, to then in turn, see what is actually most logistical and practical. So like the Leo, just take a step back and learn what's most lucrative, essentially. Moving forward, like I said, the Cancer rising is going to experience the Aquarius. No, wow. Why am I bringing up Aquarius? The Taurus in the 11th house, like I say. So their associations, whatever the blueprint and they learned from, essentially with the Aries there, then now in turn they're associating with that that blueprint. So whatever associates and whatever group you're stabilizing, whatever group makes most sense, then you're in turn having this Virgo in the 3rd house to harvest from your environment. So whatever is a space you associate with, you're in turn harvesting from that association in your 3rd house, in your environment. So it's either your environment benefits you or your environment does not benefit you. So essentially this is all about conversation and conversating with the right people. Get you people getting you into the right spaces. I'm slipping on my words, my fault, y'all. Moving forward, the Gemini rising, and last but not least the Gemini rising, will have Taurus in the 12th house. So they're stabilizing a logistical and practical way of being consistent and stubborn in their dream, illusion, and nightmare to in turn give oneself something to harvest from in the 4th house. So what's close to one's heart is what one is harvesting at this time for the Gemini rising. So the Gemini's dream, illusion, and nightmare that they're in is either benefiting their private life and what's close to their heart, or it's been non-beneficial. Essentially, you're in an illusion that actually is harming one's own heart. So be more in the heart space is essentially the advice that I would give to the Gemini, based on being right beside the Taurus, but also being a square to the Virgo. So it's just learning how to be more close to, be more favorable to the heart, essentially what you're learning at this time with the Virgo season for the Gemini. So peace and love if you believe in all that, and holler back at me at conscious1347@gmail.com. Once again, that's conscious1347@gmail.com. conscious1347 or 1347@gmail.com. And with that being said, you can email me for a menu, and I will send you a menu of all the different readings I offer and things of that nature. So much love, and holler back on my channel.